Good evening, and welcome back to the broadcast. This is the 8-hour workday with Rex Haymarket, where every crisis somehow becomes your bill and their bonus. Tonight's story is about American farmers. It's an economic noir look at the backbone of this country.
Not the romantic version, not the one in the storybooks.
Not the truck commercial version, not the high-gloss polished version, not the politician in a plaid shirt version. They're just reading a different script.
The real version, the one they don't want you to see.
The version where the person growing the food is taking out bigger loans, paying more for fertilizer, selling into weak markets, watching bankruptcies rise, and then getting blamed when your grocery bill goes up.
Because apparently in America, everyone loves farmers until they need to be paid.
According to the USDA, net farm income is forecast to fall again in 2026 when adjusted for inflation. But the real story is underneath the headline. In the very dirt they till, farm cash receipts are under pressure. Every glance at the screen is a reminder of the shrinking margin. Production expenses remain massive. The industrial churn never stops, and neither do the bills. And direct government farm payments are forecast to reach $44.3 billion in 2026. That sounds like support, but is it? But it also tells you something else. When an industry needs that much public money just to stay upright, the system is not healthy. It is being patched, a digital band-aid on a structural wound. This is the part of inflation most people never see. The stack that grows while the lights flicker. Before food gets to the grocery store, before it gets a label, before it gets a barcode, before it becomes a $7 box of cereal, somebody has to plant the crop, fertilize the soil, and run the tractor. Somebody had to plant the crop, fertilize the soil, run the tractor, pay the lender, pay the supplier, and pray the market price does not collapse before harvest, watching the sky and the tickers. And right now, that math is breaking. Lower receipts, sticky costs, bigger loans. The Kansas City Federal Reserve says large operating loans are still driving strong growth in farm lending activity. That matters. Every line in that loan is a tether to a system that doesn't care. An operating loan is not a luxury loan. It is not a yacht loan. It's just the price of survival. It is not a let's renovate the grain bin into a podcast studio loan. It is the money farmers borrow to buy seed, fertilizer, fuel, chemicals, feed, and supplies. Everything they need to grow what you eat. In other words, many farmers are borrowing more money just to do the same job they did last year. That is not growth. That is survival with interest. And then there is fertilizer, the quiet villain of the grocery bill. A future debt in a bag of nitrogen. Fertilizer does not sound dramatic. It sounds like something stacked outside a hardware store.
But fertilizer is one of the main reasons modern agriculture produces as much food as it does. It's the industrial fuel of the field.
Corn needs nitrogen. Wheat needs fertilizer. High yields depend on it. That's the NPK reality. And when fertilizer prices spike, farmers face an ugly choice. Pay more and destroy your margin. Use less and risk lower yields. Or switch crops if your land, equipment, and crop rotation allow it.
None of those choices are free, and someone always pays.
Reuters reported that the USDA has been speaking daily with the White House about high fertilizer prices. The industrial heart of the problem after the Iran war disrupted global fertilizer exports through the Strait of Hormuz, a bottleneck in the system. That is how global conflict becomes local inflation. War hits fertilizer, fertilizer hits yields, and yields hit food prices.
A war overseas hits fertilizer. Fertilizer hits planting decisions. Planting decisions hit yields. Yields hit supply. Supply hits prices. It's a domino effect of industrial dread.
And eventually the bill lands in a shopping cart next to the eggs, the final, painful step in a very long chain. But here is the part that makes this system feel insane. It's a glitch in the code of reality. When your grocery bill goes up, most of that money does not go to the farmer. They're only getting a tiny sliver. According to USDA food dollar data, farms received only 11.8 cents of every dollar spent on domestically produced food in 2024, a tiny fraction of the total. The rest went to everything after the farm gate: processing, transportation, storage, wholesale, retail, restaurants, marketing, finance. The data doesn't lie. All the middle layers of the food machine, spinning fast and taking their cut. So when prices rise, consumers feel robbed. When crop prices fall, farmers feel ruined. And somehow, both can be true at the same time. That is the economic lesson here. The grocery store is not the farm economy. The price you pay for food is not the same as the price farmers receive for crops. Look at the gap. A farmer can be going broke while you are paying more. That is not a contradiction. That is the structure. And this is why food inflation is so politically dangerous. Everyone sees the price, but Rex wants you to see the chain. Because everyone sees the price, almost nobody sees the chain, the link that connects their bonus to your bill. The consumer sees expensive groceries, the farmer sees low crop prices, the fertilizer company sees pricing power, the lender sees a bigger operating loan, the politician sees a photo op. All of them are watching the same train wreck. And the public sees a grocery receipt and thinks, who is screwing me? The million-dollar question. The answer is, the system is. It's not a bug, Aaron. It's a feature. Not in a cartoon villain way, in a spreadsheet way, red cells on a cold monitor, in an every layer protects its margin except the people at the bottom way. The crush is real. Farm bankruptcies are now rising. American Farm Bureau says Chapter 12. Farm bankruptcies rose to 315 in 2025, up 46% from 2024. A slow silence falling over the heartland. And Chapter 12 is not even the whole story. Some farmers do not qualify. They just wait for the rain to stop. Some sell land, some quit, some take off farm jobs, walking away from generations of work as the system glitched out. Some keep the farm alive with outside income, family labor, and debt that gets rolled forward like a bad credit card balance with a barn attached. Survival on a razor's edge. Bankruptcy is the visible part. Exit is the invisible part. The slow bleed out of the heartland. This is why nobody cares is not just a slogan. It is a policy model. We care enough to romanticize farmers. We care enough to put them in campaign ads. Pure VHS nostalgia. We care enough to say family farms are the backbone of America. But when the backbone cracks, we call it market efficiency. Then we send emergency aid, pretend that fixed the problem, and let the same cost structure reload for next season. And yes, there is government support, a lot of it, digital payouts to keep the ghost in the machine. USDA expects direct government farm payments to reach $44.3 billion in 2026. That sounds like farmers are getting rich. But the numbers glitch when you look closer. But that is the wrong read, completely wrong. When an industry needs that much public support just to keep producers operating, it does not mean the system is healthy. It means the system is being patched. The farmer gets the aid, the input suppliers still get paid, the lenders still get paid, the land costs stay high, the middle layers always get their slice first. The grocery bill stays high, and the public pays twice. Once at the checkout, again through policy. Double billing for the same failure. That is the part Rex wants you to clock. The digits don't lie, even if the politicians do. Farmers are not separate from inflation. They are one of the first places inflation shows up. Before inflation becomes a menu price, it is a diesel bill. Before it becomes a grocery receipt, it is a fertilizer invoice. This is where the truth is written in red. Before it becomes a political talking point, it is a farmer deciding whether this year's crop is worth planting at all, looking at an empty field and an even emptier future. And when farmers cut fertilizer, yields can fall. The field begins to fail. When yields fall, supply tightens. The silos sit empty, echoing with debt. When supply tightens, prices rise. The cost of failure hits the shelf.
Maybe not instantly, maybe not evenly, maybe not in every aisle, but the glitch spreads.
But eventually the cost pressure moves downstream. That is why fertilizer matters. It is not just a farm input. It is a future grocery price hiding in a bag of nitrogen, one you'll eventually have to pay. Now, to be clear, retail food prices do not move one for one with farm costs. They are not equal. Processing, retail, restaurants, transportation, labor, packaging, and marketing make up most of the consumer food dollar. The middle is getting fed while the ends are starved. That means a corn price crash does not automatically give you cheap cereal, and a fertilizer spike does not instantly double your grocery bill. The chain has slack, but it always tightens. But it does squeeze the system, and when enough pressure builds, somebody eats the cost. Sometimes the farmer, sometimes the consumer, usually both, just not equally. The system always eats. So the next time someone says, "Why are groceries still expensive?" remember the chain. Don't be fooled by the fog. The farmer is not getting rich, the consumer is not imagining the pain. And the middle of the system is where the money disappears into the fog. American farmers are going broke. Food is getting more expensive. And the official answer is basically, don't worry, we'll announce a program. After the damage is already planted, same spin, new season. The signal is cutting out. Stay clocked in. That's the broadcast. Like and subscribe to clock in to the 8-hour work day. Mind the static. Mind the spin. And mind who profits. Click the next video to stay clocked in. Consider it your mandatory overtime. After all, the truth isn't going to watch itself while you're off the clock.